Hello, once again, everybody. I am too hyped to do much more of an intro than that. This is the finals, and also let me mute Twitch so I'm not echoing. There we go. That is better. Now, once again, we got ourselves the finals for the Summer Cup. This is going to be a live match with OpiWrites and AstatineEffect going at it. They just finished the draft. So let's go through it real quickly with our amazing casters. Taboshi, hello.
Hello, hello.
And then Warning Track.
Hi. You're setting the bar pretty high. Amazing, he says.
I mean, come on. You're the classic team back at it again.
And that's true. I will accept a factual statement of most experienced.
Yes.
For the two of us.
Yes, that is.
We've been doing this together, Warning Track. I just looked it up for 13 years.
Good Lord.
I mean, you've been doing it since before SpyParty had a replay system.
Yeah, which shows you how dedicated we were, because that was difficult.
Yes.
It wasn't easy to do.
All right, and now I'm just gonna quickly go through the draft because we got a lot of venues to look at. Now, a shock to nobody, OpiWrites banned Aquarium. And then, High Rise. Actually, I wasn't expecting a High Rise ban from Astatine, but you know they had banned something. And it's a little bit confusing here, but OpiWrites is the one that doubled Ballroom, and Astatine doubled Gallery. But because they draft every venue, so the double venue just happens to show up on Astatine's side.
I see. Okay.
So that's the order that they're going to be played in. We're starting with Library, and I think we're ready to go now. If you want to just jump right into it.
No objections.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, let's go. Starting things out on Library, any 5 of 8. We're going to have OpiWrites on the Spy side first as Sorry versus AstatineEffect Sniper. Let's get this show on the road in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It is good to be back. And the Summer Cup happening very much in the middle of summer, which was not always the case in years past.
That's true.
Not as bad as the Winter Cup, right? But it had its problems.
We got through it at quite a decent clip this year round, so we're still in summer by the end. Slow start from OpiWrites here, just sort of eyeing up his seduction target and being annoyed that they're not coming to him, so he's gonna make a little bit of a move to tuck in behind. I thought he was gonna do something cheeky behind the pillar here, but nope, just grabbing a print off the briefcase and then... Oh, getting a cheeky bug on the way out of it, though. That's big.
Following behind them, cheeky is definitely the right word for it. They do get the fingerprint, and they use their hand for something else right afterwards.
Yeah, tucked behind the pillar so they were hard to see. Wouldn't show up to someone's mind as the ambassador being danger as they went across, so that's OpiWrites getting basically a free bug, also takes out a green book on the way through, so lots of progress early on, even after a slightly slower looking start.
Well, so Opie loves that quick early flirt, right? A lot of aggressive spies do, Opie in particular, kind of famous for it. As you mentioned, they were eyeing them up, but General, the seduction target, was at a bookshelf, and the question is, are they going to stay? Are they going to go? You kind of want to see where they land. Opie does a good job of not trying to force that and not wasting time. Notices another opportunity, keeps their attention split, see what the party gives them.
Was able to pick up 24% on the flirt while they're here, and it looks like this book is going right back down where he found it. No reason to get too aggressive with the book now that you have that bug in pocket.
Exactly right. If that bug doesn't take, I think maybe we do something with this book. Maybe we launder it, clean it by keeping it out a little bit longer because it's there from early in the game. But in this case, you feel pretty good about your prospects. It's Library, of course, so getting away with the hardtail, even if we did, does not guarantee you mission win, but it's a big first step.
Yeah. Generally speaking, there's still one more big tell you need to get away with to get through mission win as the spy on this venue, but... we'll get to that when we get to it. For now, we're back in conversation with the seduction target. Being very polite to wait for our turn to talk, and hitting a fairly close green test on the second flirt. So that brings us up to 75%.
It's a big one. It's going to ensure we get that done in 3, pretty much no matter what. I mean, as long as you're not standing all the way across from them in the circle, you're going to be just fine. A couple tempting purloins, but instead we're going to take that innocuous drink, and I think that's probably wise. Again, no reason to be too aggressive yet.
Absolutely. Into conversation we go with the double agent. So lots of people in conversations right now. This would be a pretty good time for it. The
Yeah, this looks good.
conversations that are there are pretty sizable.
And the question is, do you wait for one or two more to go in, and do people leave instead while that's happening? And yes, that seems to be
Yeah,
what happened. It's a little
it
worse
looks
now.
Banana bread.
unfortunately, people do step away from the conversations, but we step out to finish up this fingerprint, getting our second print both off of the briefcases in this game. So that's 3 missions done, most of the way through Flirt as well. We need one more mission besides. It's gonna be either swap, inspect, microfilm, or purloin the guest list, as well as the last Flirt, which should be coming up in just a few moments.
Right now, the contact is the only thing that has me worried. One of the suspected double agents was very visibly out of conversation, so you don't have a lot of people who have real here. Hard thing to track, certainly on library, even for a seasoned sniper, but that's the kind of thing that can pull back a game for them.
Absolutely can. There's the Flirt getting done, so 4 missions down, minute and 10 to find the last one.
This is a real choice, though, too. You go to center statue here, it feels like the safe choice, but against a good sniper, it can absolutely be the risky one.
But we're doing it anyways. We've landed in center statue. We've got a drink to drink before we get going here. It's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is. There's been no highlight so far. The fact that he just got highlight instead of getting shot makes me think Opie's probably safe here.
Probably. You got to make sure you get it done. There it is. The main thing is you want to show them kind of quickly that it's not a swap, because they might shoot you because they're jumpy. Doesn't look like that shot's coming, though.
No, AstatineEffect was really not looking at OpiWrites too closely at all, and Opie gets a huge first spy win to open up the match.
So this is really interesting. If the sniper is already kind of on the back foot, if maybe it's getting late in the match or they're behind a little bit, they're going to be jumpier, maybe a little more aggressive. But in the very first game, they're probably going to be telling themselves, be calm, don't rush. That's what I always would tell myself in the first sniper game, right? So shooting just because of that suspicious timing, a center statue late in a library game, that's the kind of thing a good sniper is not going to let themselves do unless they have a lot of suspicion already, because it's kind of a Hail Mary shot. Again, as long as they're not too worried about that swap, as long as you don't give them an extra reason to shoot you, I think that's the smart move, especially in the very first game of the match.
Yeah, I completely agree. And losing the first game on sniper side is always a bit of a tough pill to swallow. Let's see if AstatineEffect can bounce back from the spy side versus Opie's sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I mean, it's about as clean a spy game as you're going to see, right? Early bug, and then just soft tells all the way, spaced out properly. Speaking of...
Oh, that could have been such a good bug. It unfortunately didn't take and led to a highlight. So what I thought was going to be a pretty risk-free proposition actually looks like it's handed Opie a huge amount of suspicion right off the bat.
So the only thing we have to wonder now is, how big is this highlight, right? Is it just, oh, that person might have bugged? Or is it, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw them, but there's no reason to shoot yet? There are going to be a couple of major cues. We'll see statue visits. We'll see maybe a contact. Those are the kind of things where if they're almost positive, we'll see the shot right away, and they would probably notice this time ad, especially with a white following a green.
Double time ad, 1 green, 1 white, so that adds a lot of time to the clock. Doesn't look like Opie is particularly on top of it, though. Does notice that the time ad has happened, so he is going through and getting some low lights, which only makes things worse for AstatineEffect, but it wasn't that big of a reaction from OpiWrites.
Oh, and that makes sense to me. It's a little aggressive, because normally if someone misses a bug in chaos time like that, they're usually not going to go do something aggressive right afterwards. There's like a cowing effect to the failure sometimes. So to keep their foot on the gas is a little unusual, might have caught him a little off guard, even if he's top suspect, which Astatine might be.
That's very true. Looks like we're trying to see if we can track down this ambassador again. We're a bit slower than he is, so it would have had to been a stop either at that window or in the conversation we are currently in. AstatineEffect, I think, actually breaks animation just a little bit so they can get out of dodge before they get locked in by another person entering conversation with them, but does get out cleanly, and off to the double agent we go.
This looks pretty good. I think you probably want to take this as soon as Smallman gets in. There we go.
Smallman gets in just now. Not going too quickly on it is AstatineEffect, really waiting to see if they can get a little bit of time cover, I guess, so they're not seen entering conversation and contacting shortly after, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose, but library doesn't stay static for long. So if you get a good contact opportunity, I think normally you just have to take it.
Agreed. 4 minutes still to play after the 2 time ads, but AstatineEffect is really using as much of that time as they can.
Kind of interesting. So the broken animation earlier, interrupting the speaker there, but not to flirt or contact or anything. This is, we're really using this time. It makes me wonder if they're feeling that suspicion.
Seduction target drops in to say hi, not quite in range to get it done in 2, but still 93% off of the second green test. That's a bit of a gift.
Yeah, looking pretty good there at least. But, we've kind of burned through those time ads already.
We have indeed still in conversation with the double agent, taking a print off the drink as well. That's a pretty nice find.
Yeah, generally speaking, unless the sniper is deliberately looking out for them, those tend to be the easiest prints to get away with.
And now is when the double agent finally gets tired of waiting and leaves us be. 3 minutes to play. And really all we got from that entire conversation was the one print off the drink.
It's going to be very interesting to see what Astatine does next. I think it'll give us a real sense about their game plan, which right now is pretty mysterious to us.
I think they're just trying to shed as much heat as possible. Maybe they saw the laser flick over them after the bug attempt, but there's the flirt done here at Green Bookcases. I don't think they're going to try anything with this book. The laser's really hanging around, and no, the book just does go back where it came from.
I mean, your narrative does sort of fit, which is basically, okay, I think I'm suspected for the bug, but I'm not going to be able to just lay low and do nothing, so I'm actually going to do one more aggressive thing with a couple of time ads, and then try to lay low for a really long time. Give myself options. There's a red purloin. Oh, boy.
The shot is instantaneous after the fact, trying to get away from the list before it was seen blinking, but that entire thing was directly on camera, so there's only so much you can do.
Right, and unfortunately, that does stop us from getting confirmation as to the level of suspicion that we were speculating about, because a red purloin directly on screen will tend to induce a pretty quick shot, whether they were top suspect or not. But I suspect they were in trouble from the get-go on that one.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do in a situation like that. We're still waiting on the next game to get finished up before we can get going, so we don't have the next game ready for you quite yet, unfortunately. This is one of the perils of live sets.
Yeah, one of the nice things about it, too, though, you do get to breathe every now and then. What a start for Opie, though. I mean, a clean spy win. I think a mission win probably feels even better than a Civ shot for the most part.
Absolutely.
You really can't. And on Library, let's not forget, it happened on Library. You're not supposed to win a lot of spy wins there, and especially via mission win. So coming out of the gate strong, not what we're used to. Opie famously falls behind in these and then makes a game of it anyway. But we always say that's not the way to actually win. So playing with a lead, obviously, probably going to play a lot looser. And I think that's going to be key for Opie.
Yeah, so it seems we're ready for the next one. It's going to be Opie on the spy side first of another big venue, Veranda 5 of 8. So we're really leaning into getting the snipers as comfortable as possible. Let's see if Opie can upset that apple cart once again from the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Super quick prediction. I think aggressive spy game from Opie, the opposite of what he just did, playing with some confidence, wants to mix it up.
We shall see. Lots of movement from the relevant cast members early off in the game. OpiWrites just sort of hanging out in conversation, waiting to see where people land and what he can do from there.
Well, my prediction's looking bad so far. I will say the only thing that makes as much sense as what I just predicted is its polar opposite, which is I just demonstrated mission win, so maybe now I can induce a Civ shot. But on Veranda, that's still a big ask. So I still think we're going to see a rush of activity at some point.
Yeah, I completely agree. Veranda is... Any 5 of venue generally does not lend itself to frame jobs.
No, not normally. But I would just be a little surprised if we saw the exact same type of game. I understand the logic of it, right? It just worked for me. Do it again until they beat it. And we do have the early bug.
It's not a bad bug. It was being watched. But it doesn't look like AstatineEffect actually caught a look of it, so I think that's completely clean from OpiWrites.
It's a good bug highlight, when it's watched but not seen.
Yeah, that is the best kind of bug because the sniper can be the sniper feels comfortable that you didn't take it, doesn't feel any need to credit anything. It looks like that highlight was probably just statue credit. So OpiWrites should still be in a pretty good position here.
My analysis is looking pretty bad because OpiWrites is running back the game almost exactly so far with an early bug and an early briefcase fingerprint, an early statue visit this time too, and did get in an earlier flirt. But right now, it's looking like a dare. This worked once, you didn't catch it. I'm just going to do it again until you make me pay for it.
So, just over 3 minutes to play, bug done, 2 inspects, 1 print, half a flirt. This is so much progress. Even if it was, again, a slightly slower start as he waited for the party to line up to start making his first move, OpiWrites really has gotten a lot done since then.
Whether this works or not, the fact that they might have gotten away with bug again, I think you need to zag at some point. At a certain point, Astatine's going to say, this is killing me. I'm going to laser focus, no pun intended, on the ambassador, and then you need to do something else while the ambassador's on the other side of the venue, which they are right now.
Yeah, for sure. Generally, the thinking is just don't do the same thing 3 times in a row.
2 times in a row is smart.
Once,
3 times in a row is dumb.
If you see it once, you got beat. If you see it twice, now it's a pattern that you know to look for. That's when spies usually want to switch it up. Into the front statues we go to finish up the inspects with just over 2 minutes to play. So it's been a bit of a slow minute for OpiWrites, but now that we've gotten the second mission completion, and we do still have a lot of progress to work with.
And we're definitely, I think, focused on that ambassador's book. That's a great way to finish fingerprint. On this venue, very hard to track.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Banana bread.
There's the contact.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, and AstatineEffect was on top of it. Doesn't actually wait for the rest of the missions to be completed, doesn't wait for the second print, was just confident enough in what he had seen to take the shot after the contact.
So I think we were right. Watched but not seen, but still inferred. I do not think that bug was visible, but I think they were confident enough and they thought, boy, this sure looks like the previous game. Opie tries to run it back, and Astatine says, not so fast.
Yeah, I think you may be right. That bug looked like it may have been just barely visible as the arm went out just off the start of it before it started clipping through people. But if he was able to actually get solid suspicion on that bug, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, look, the best snipers do it. I very famously once failed to get away with a perfectly invisible bug in the finals. It was just inferred, and they said, well, I got to shoot for it. I got to assume it's right. The best snipers are at that point because the best spies can make it either invisible or very nearly so. I think Opie should have zagged there. I think he should have taken my my advice through space and time. But it was still a well-played game. Astatine, though, did not get fooled twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Takes it to heart.
Yeah. And AstatineEffect gets himself on the board, finally settles in, and puts together a really nice sniper game. Let's see what they can do from the spy side of Veranda. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this really would be a big momentum shift if they come back with a spy win on Veranda. A little easier than Library, I'm going to say, on average. I'm not sure what the most recent data says, but I would generally say the Library win a little bigger against top snipers. But if you come back on a very sniper-favored venue and even this back up and shorten this series after that start, if you believe in momentum, you would certainly have it.
Oh, this could be a wild little behind-the-back bug here. Do we get an attempt on it? Big rotate, but no, the ambassador steps away before we're able to get a chance of it. We take the briefcase on it instead, and we take a highlight for our troubles. So 1 print, nothing from the book, and a highlight to start the game. Not what AstatineEffect would have been hoping for.
I mean, on paper, if that's a real highlight, like a genuine level of suspicion, then it's a very bad trade. But if it's a little bit rote, and if we fast forward 2 minutes and half the party's highlight for similar reasons, and you space those fingerprint outs, might be just fine.
We shall see. In conversation with the seduction target now. Bit of a cross conversation, but it's a small conversation, so it doesn't really matter. 45% on the green flirt.
Yeah, you're not going to get the 2, but you're going to pretty much guarantee the 3. It's the next best thing. And on Veranda, there's a lot of movement and a lot of pads, so it ain't gallery. You don't have to worry about it quite as much.
Yeah, for sure. And also, the conversations can get kind of busy on this venue, so it's it's easy to not be able to get in position for the two flirt anyways.
Yeah.
Innocent watch check, no time ad there, and then back into conversation with the seduction target for the second flirt. This flirt green again to bring us up to 91%. That one was cross conversation, but still close enough to get the full credit for it, it looks like.
Yeah, a lot of progress here. This is the standard, like, oh, I pick up a print, I get some flirts in. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I haven't committed to whether or not I'm going to finish or not. I haven't committed to how I'm going to finish. This just gives you options. It's kind of the safe thing you can do on these bigger venues.
Yeah, a little bit behind the clock, but still as safe as it's going to get. We'll see what AstatineEffect does with this moving forward, but if they're going to get to mission completion, they're probably going to have to start getting a mosey on.
Yeah, at a certain point, if the party hasn't come to you, you have to go get it.
There's the flirt done, so that's all three from this same spot in this same conversation. One print, and that's the only other progress we have with just over 2 minutes to play.
And again, we took a significant highlight for it. I mentioned highlights maybe getting out of control, saving us. They haven't really since. There were a couple early ones, but it hasn't grown at too steady a clip since. The party has been subdued enough, or the highlights have been restrained enough.
There's the contact coming off. More importantly, though, we were able to get a standing bug in this position when the ambassador dropped in to say hi. OpiWrites was rotated all around the other side of the venue, technically visible, but with so many people in between, there was just no way of seeing that arm go.
I mean, that sequence almost single-handedly flipped this. We missed the fingerprint there, the difficult fingerprint. That would have been absolutely massive because suddenly, with the number of highlights and only getting 3 lowlights from that contact, which is very good for Veranda, suddenly Astatine has a real path to victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Minute and 15 to play. Bug done, contact done, flirt done. 2 inspects and a print in pocket as well. So if we can find a statue with a print on it, that will finish our missions right then and there. But for now, it looks like we're going to get this, try to get this print at the blue bookcase. Again, we don't hit it.
2 opportunities to get the difficult print, and on Veranda, tracking difficult prints on these objects, pretty freaking tough. I really do think, though, that something about the camera movement, I'm watching from Sniper View right now, makes me think that OpiWrites is onto them, and that if they do try to complete, it's going to be rough.
I think you may be right, but yeah, just picks up the statue and immediately gets shot for it. They had to assume one of those prints was successful, which would have made that statue the last mission. That's just good counting out of OpiWrites, and they're able to lock it down from the sniper side.
They also rotated around Veranda to find this character alone with the ambassador, having approached them off camera. So if you hadn't already been a suspect for the bug, you pretty much have to credit it now. There's 30 seconds left. If you're found alone with the ambassador, you're at a statue completing inspects. It's on Veranda. You have the early highlight for a fingerprint. At that point, you don't have to be sure. I don't see how you can hold that shot anyway. But there was just something about that camera rotation that reminded me of when I used to play. It had that sort of, I'm keeping the spy in view, but always on the edge of the screen and always moving so that they're not too suspicious of my suspicions. It just kind of felt like that as the game went on. I think the key there, though, was not letting those highlights get out of control so that they had too many things to watch at the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. OpiWrites up 3-1 now as we step into our first medium-sized venue. It's Gallery, any 4 of 8. Opie on the spy side first. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. In the back of the back conversation, this is a very useful spy-like place to be. Theoretically, you'd want to... Oh!
Yep. I saw some sliding, and we're probably going to get a restart here, I would think.
Yeah, looks like it. Next game looks like it's back up and running, so we're going to have another go at that. Once again, Opie on the spy side of Gallery in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And we always talk about this. Flirt on Gallery It is such a big deal, and with Opie already liking to prioritize flirt, you can see them making a beeline for their seduction target, following them at all costs, and oh no, it just does not work out, but we are going to hang here, I think, as long as we can, maybe reposition nearby, see where they land. You got to get that early flirt in.
Yeah, hand in hand with the ambassador for a lot of that as well, but too exposed to be able to risk taking a bug off of. It was a scary start to the game from OpiWrites, but I don't think they really accrued any suspicion from it, probably.
No, but they just have nothing to do in this conversation. All you can do is wait for the seduction target who's off doing other things, and unless you want to go take a statue right now and take that early highlight, this is just not lining up the way you wanted. You're realizing you're going to have to flirt very aggressively or maybe hit a couple of green tests later, or you're going to be in trouble of the variety that we are very used to seeing on Gallery.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tough start from OpiWrites. Already, as soon as the game started, it already felt like it was starting to slip a little bit. The party was just not being friendly. So he takes a green purloin from that spy spot in the back of the back conversation. Let's see if there's any. We are getting a bit of a reject chain off of it. So this is very useful for OpiWrites.
Not just that, but like Toby kind of waiting around too. We're just creating not just more rejects, but time between rejects. That's huge.
Yeah, for sure. In and out of the blue bookcase with nothing to do as we pick up the briefcase to take our first print. 2 minutes and 20 to play. This reject chain is still going. Here's the take happening now.
But a cast takes it. Very rough.
A cast member takes it, sure, but OpiWrites was standing right behind them, putting down a briefcase they had just been walking with. That's going to have to be a pretty well-tracked reject chain for Opie to get any real suspicion off of that.
I mean, at worst, it's you and Leopard Print, right? But it very plausibly, this is just not tracked or Leopard Print is top suspect. At this point, though, you really got to watch her, see what she does, see if she gives him some reason to shoot.
Innocent drink take right after the fact as well to continue trying to make them look as innocent as possible for this purloin. In conversation with the seduction target, but the seduction target steps away from us. We do have 41% on that, but we weren't quite able to get to the next cooldown.
By the way, Opie did request the drink at 227 to delay that, I think, purloin a little further, which very clever, very sneaky. If you get one more reject in that chain, it's really potent. With just the one, it's not as good as it seems. But again, the time delay is the thing almost as much as the chain itself.
Absolutely. With 1 minute and 5 left on the clock, I would not be surprised if OpiWrites just sort of waited for an opportune moment to take a fake contact and then just trusted AstatineEffect to pull the trigger on somebody. That said, we are going out to track down the seduction target out front to get the next flirt off.
I mean, you need 2 more flirts. You're running out of time. There's no way you do this without a time ad. I think you have to induce a shot. I kind of wonder what this flirt is about.
40 seconds left to play. Out and in, back for the flirt here. 30 seconds to play as we get that done. We have a print and a mission still to get.
What on earth?
Double agent now available.
We're actually trying to win this. We did not do the time ad. We were off screen entirely because the ambassador and the list were back there. Well, not the list anymore, but Toby.
10 seconds. It's going to be a big overtime, but this is very much available. This is a huge conversation back here. Takes the contact, takes the bullet as well. AstatineEffect is on top of it.
That is just too much activity too late.
Yeah, agreed.
And once again, though, the result denies us confirmation of our narrative. You know, we're trying to figure out how suspicious were they for that purloin, and we don't really know because you're the only one moving around that much late in the game. And if a sniper feels like they don't have control of a game, which is how you feel if you think you've missed a purloin, by the way, sometimes it's enough to just look at who's running around the most in the last minute and shoot that person. Literally just count their steps and shoot whoever's got the most, and you'll be right a surprising amount of the time. I think that might have been an opportunity for a frame there. Leopard wasn't very helpful on that front, but I don't know. I think the time ad was the way to go. We were off screen. The binoculars were zoomed in, as they so often are on Gallery. Yeah. That, I think, was the fulcrum of the game, is deciding not to take that time ad.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Either way, that puts AstatineEffect in striking distance from the spy side. It's 2-3. as we wait for them to get finished up with this next gallery game, we always seem to be finishing games just a tad bit ahead of schedule.
Well, maybe we'll come up with something more to say for the next one and give ourselves a little margin. I don't know. Or maybe the players are talking between, or they're picking their casts very carefully, rather than just doing true random, like you probably should. I don't know, psychologically. Hard to say. Although with Gallery, this is one of those venues where picking a character with some speed, maybe giving the seduction target some speed, is not the worst idea in the world. On a lot of venues, I think
Absolutely.
true random is pretty good. If you have some tech in mind, obviously true random is out of the question. But Gallery's in one of those sort of in-between spaces where it's probably worth it to pick at least a few of them. You did mention, Astatine just almost pulling it back, right? That's the thing. The spy win is huge. But if you keep it like this, if Astatine keeps shutting it down, they just need to steal one. And all that is gone. And then you're in a shortened set with someone who has just pulled themselves back from the brink. It's the second one, right? It's the second spy win that you don't give up on the other side, where the spies maybe start to get despondent and a little aggressive and easier to catch.
Yeah. All right. Well, AstatineEffect. On to the spy side of Gallery versus OpiWrites Sniper. Let's get this next game underway in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Looks like AstatineEffect is going to chase down their seduction target early on. Out to the front we go. With a drink in hand, by the way. That's not the
Ooh.
thing that AI will do very often on this venue.
Flouting the local ordinances, I think it's called flout ordinance is the name of the variable in the code, I want to say.
That's
something like that.
incredible. I love that so much.
I know the verbiage. That's the preferred verbiage in the same way you do not steal the purloin, you do not steal the guest list, you purloin the guest list. The verbiage is flouting ordinances because you can't do that, at least on these fictional New York streets.
Indeed. So, 51% on the first flirt and chasing the seduction target back in. I think we were hoping that they would wind up in that back conversation, but they kind of get bounced instead. So it's out to blue bookcase we go.
I mean, it's a pretty good pairing, us and our seduction target, the two probably well-dressed people at the party.
Yeah. Two most well-dressed people, I think
so.
About right.
Boy, we men have it easy, don't we? Just a suit, and you look all fancy. Very little decision-making for us, sartorially.
Pick your tie, pick your shirt color.
Oh, yeah, maybe some fancy socks, maybe a garish tie. That's about as far as you go.
Absolutely. In conversation with the seduction target once again, not able to hit the second green, so it's 85% off of that. Also in conversation with the double agent, not anymore. Also, blue book in hand, which could be useful.
We're just taking every item outside. Briefcase is next item. Oh boy.
Okay, you cannot take a bug there. You could see the elbow coming out behind him to be visible every other step, but still took a highlight for it.
I don't know. I feel like Opie's a good enough sniper to see that the bug did not happen and actually credit it the other way, right? When the spy walks right by the ambassador without bugging. But I think it's too much of the shoulder was submerged in the ambassador to be confident.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Back out to blue bookcase we go to put this book away. So no transfer microfilm shenaniganry going on. Minute and 35 on the clock.
Yeah, things are starting to get a little dicey here. Oh, I don't know about that path.
Odd path there. Looked like they were heading for the painting and then decided to head outside towards the double agent at the last moment. Probably not something that's going to be picked up on, but the double agent is not having it.
I mean, it wasn't a great contact anyway, but we're desperate for progress. I think we're already out here. The problem is the ambassador is too, and when the ambassador is out front, that's when you don't get away with timeouts.
Yeah, absolutely. The ambassador being out front is going to get watched. Seduction target does drop in to say hi, so that's the flirt done, but we have no other progress with 50 seconds to play. This is not looking good for AstatineEffect as far as missions.
Yeah, one mission completed in less than 1 minute to go. Oh, we are not zoomed in for this timeout, and we leave the window very quickly. That was on screen. We were not doing the gallery zoom for that.
Yeah. The moment the ambassador heads back inside, Astatine heads for the time ad, which, fair enough, but may have jumped the gun just a tad. Doesn't look like he was caught, though. It may have been on screen, but the eyes were elsewhere from OpiWrites.
I think you're right, and the timing's good. You know, the ambassador is out of harm's way out front, so that was the time to do it. But for whatever reason, Opie stayed zoomed out.
That's a
There's
bug.
the bug.
That's a good bug.
I saw the hand snap back. Did Opie is the question.
Yeah, that's true. Seek is a little bit dangerous because he holds his hands in front of him like that instead of to his side. So when you finish that bug, you have to sort of relock your hands in front, and that can be something that's pretty easy for the sniper to see if they're looking at it. It just doesn't look like Opie was looking at it, so that gives a possible lifeline for AstatineEffect. 30 seconds to play as we take out the green book.
We also had a potential highlight for bug already, so how much would we watch for bug if we were sort of crediting it? Oh, we've just dragged the book over. We're a third at a shelf here. The clock is beeping very slowly. It's going to be a rush of activity late. It's going to be hard to get away with it, just like it was for Opie.
That's the microfilm slam. I'm almost surprised he hasn't taken a bullet here yet. But we've got the buck done. We've got the microfilm done. We've got the flirt done. We are in
Oh no, we're not
overtime.
confident. Oh no, we're not confident. Wow!
Does find the shot in the end. It was a scary situation.
No! Too late for sync! Too
What?
late for sync! That's what it's showing on my end.
Yeah, that's what's showing on my end too. I was
We
just
held it
so
for
sure
so long.
he got it because
Oh no.
I think that looked like a lag issue to me, not the holding it too long issue.
I mean,
It
I
looked
think
like
so.
he actually clicked that at like 5 seconds left on the.
This is really rough. Look at this timeline. Took shot at 1.6. Missions completed successfully. Negative 6.8. That is the worst latency I've seen in a late shot, I think, ever in a competitive event. We have had, I think, one shot too late for sync in competitive history. It was Dowsey against Crazy Kaylee in the quarterfinals of the 2019 Summer Cup. At the time, I said it was the only competitive event to turn on latency issues, and that was just a couple of seconds. He waited till the very end. I don't think Opie waited very long here. I think he just got, pardon my language, screwed by the latency on this one.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Took shot was at 1.6 seconds left on the clock, not on the mission win countdown. The missions completed successfully didn't trigger until negative 6.8.
Crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. Before the match, like Opie had mentioned that I think he moved to a new home or a new house, and it's some possibly internet issues going on, which is, I mean, obviously explaining the drops and all that.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. My guess is they're discussing this right now because I don't think we have a game waiting for us yet. So we can only speculate. It's possible that they will agree to replay. It's possible they'll say, "Oh well, that's what happens." Both would be very reasonable. But I will say one argument for letting it stand is that we did see Opie, let's say, flick his camera around quite a bit near the end of that game. Like, this was not a question of, I know who it is, I'm trying to shoot, I made my decision, and then it waits. There was some genuine indecision you could see. There was a little bit of panic. There was a little bit of, who could this be? They obviously did figure it out in the end, but there was a lot of, like, flicking from character to character to see what else was going on. It didn't look confident to me.
Yeah, but still, a 5 seconds too late for sync is brutal.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. I think this is one of those things where sportsmanship would dictate one thing, but if Astatine said, sorry, the scoreboard, it is what it is, that would have to stand.
Yeah.
Fair or not.
It would. So I assume, unless we hear something from the players, I think you're right. I assume they're discussing this.
Yeah. Rav, the tournament organizer, is, I think, is here, and he is
speaking to them.
Yeah, I think they're trying to come up with some sort of ruling.
I mean, I don't know about you, Opie, but I'm having flashbacks to Kaylee KC MSCL Finals 5, the rematch, the honor shots, where there was a miss.
Right.
And Kaylee said, no, I don't want to win that way. I'm giving the game back. We'll replay it. And then KCM said, no, no, no. I missed. That's part of the game. And both the knights kind of jangled in their armor for a little while, and eventually KCM said, "Hey, man, missing is part of the game. I could have shot differently. Yes, it's silly, but it's on me." And I think that's where it was left ultimately.
Yeah, that's.
So we might have a similar situation here, and again in a finals, which is not when you want to see it.
Yes, and a
Indeed.
live casted finals as well.
A live casted finals as well.
Yeah.
So they're figuring this out. I think,
Yeah.
personally, I think most of us would probably say, let's run this game back. But we don't know. I mean, it's possible that Opie is saying something there that said, look, man, it was a lucky shot anyway. I was confused. I hesitated several seconds. That's on me. Or, hey, if I move to a place with bad internet, that's on me too, because it might hurt you later. We don't know. It's possible that this will affect both snipers equally, and it just happened to affect Opie first. There are a lot of ways to deal with this, and I think all of them are reasonable. But I will just say that even if it does stand, I'm not going to throw any shade Astatine's way. This is a big final, and there are plenty of good arguments either way.
Yeah, and especially with the tournament organizer apparently involved in the discussions, I no matter what the verdict winds up being, I think I would be understanding.
I think so. I mean, since we're here, do we want to take a look at those last few seconds again, right around when the purloin goes off?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can certainly see the state of mind at least. And hey, you're allowed to be panicked and come up with a good shot. A good sniper does that sometimes. They infer what must have happened, even if they're not completely on the ball when it happens. That is a skill sometimes. But I do think we're going to see certainly some uncertainty here.
Indeed.
You see zooming in, zooming out, looking at statues, looking around, and then we find it. Now, we know we have the time, so that is still, I'm not going to say panic exactly, right? It could be panic. It could be looking around very fervently, but understanding you don't have to shoot right away. But this was not, oh, my top suspect just did the thing, now I take my shot.
Yeah. It looks like they're mostly trying to work on diagnosing the connection issue right now. Opie says it looks to be on their end. They're considering doing resets of either the game or the PC. We'll see what winds up happening.
This is an interesting question. Regardless, they might have already, the delay might not be them deciding what to do with this game. The delay might be, hey, can we really finish this match knowing this might happen again? They might have already made up their mind. This might have happened very quickly where Astatine says, 5 seconds, that's not fair, off we go. Or Opie might have said, hey, my fault, on we go. It's just tied now, that's fine. And the rest of it might just be, can we finish this today?
Yeah.
And I think if I'm right, Checker was talking just last night about pushing an update that got pushed into this morning and this afternoon, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's happened yet. Yeah, but
no, we would probably
actual
know, but it is. But the timing does make you wonder, right?
Yeah.
I mean, presumably coincidence, unrelated, probably no effect, especially with Opie mentioning moving to a new place. We've all been through that before, where the internet changes. And I just hope the internet in my new place is as good as it was in the last one. It's almost as important as how many bedrooms and bathrooms the place has sometimes, is what's my network latency, at least for a certain type of person. And we are all that type of person here.
Yes, it seems like we are.
We are. I would move into a slightly worse house for better internet. Absolutely.
Yeah, I probably would as well.
So I do want to point out that this was a bit of a rush at the end of the game. I mentioned in the previous game that Opie was kind of doing a lot of missions late, didn't do the time ad. This was a little different, but it felt kind of weirdly similar. And I think it looks like for a second there, it was going to have the exact same result.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just left things a little bit too long, probably longer than they should have, got really active at the end and did some very spy-like looking things. For a moment, it looked like it could have gone either way. Opie did find the shot. The question is whether it's deemed to have been found in time.
I mean, this is the hallmark of hashtag Team Do Stuff, which was a meme back in the day, right? Is that
Yeah.
very often they're right. Most of us, myself included, uh, don't do enough, right? We think we're more suspicious than we are. I know that is true, and I still feel it emotionally, and that overrides the intellectual conclusions sometimes, especially in a big event. However, this is the one downside maybe, is that there are games where it is more obvious from the outside that the way to win is almost never mission win anymore. That there's just not enough time, especially a venue like Gallery where you don't have a lot of control over the party. You're more at its mercy. And then if you're on Team Do Stuff, you are doing that step thing I mentioned, where you are just the person
Yeah.
moving the most far and away at the end of a game, and you kind of just get shot. Barring 5 seconds of network latency, it almost never works. And in those moments, I think being able to kind of switch that off and having a limit to Team Do Stuff works a little better. But this does get into some pretty heady stuff that does not have a real answer, because I was always of the belief, and I cannot prove this in any way, that when you're playing a set, particularly a very long set, being willing to time out in those situations and make the sniper hold, obviously you're going to lose that game when it's obvious they're not going to civ shot, but there is a slight investment later in the match to show you're willing to do it. You cannot prove that that will even out, that that will be worth it, that you'll get any benefit at all. But it's something I told myself when I timed out, at least occasionally, that I was making some sort of investment with my patience that might pay off later and get the sniper to hold their shot when I didn't want them to shoot.
Yeah, and obviously the earlier in a set, especially a longer set, well, no. Longer sets give you a little bit of more leeway, actually, but generally speaking, the earlier in a set you can make that kind of investment, the more chance it has to pay off, so the better the investment will have wind up having been.
Yes, it will loom in their head every game after. So the earlier you do it, the more of their mental space they occupy. We do have an answer here, by the way, a ruling. The game is going to be replayed, but they're going to run a practice game to test the internet.
Just on balcony, of course.
On balcony, of course. So we're going to get a free, meaningless balcony game. Even more meaningless than a regular balcony. No, I kid. I kid. It's a real venue.
It's a real venue. We just used to always cast it on 2x speed, but it's totally real venue.
So we're going to see how this goes. I mean, I wonder, what's the test going to be here? Yeah, okay, some time adds. Maybe we try to shoot right at 0. I don't know. Mess around? Okay. Boy, Opie being pretty obvious here. I got to imagine the sniper's onto him.
Yeah.
Multiple time adds, spinning in place, doing donuts as the spy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder about the time ad, because I assumed they were going to let the clock run off and try to shoot right around the end again. But apparently not. Thrilling SpyParty Summer Cup action here.
Indeed.
Intentional time adds. I can say the one thing I like about Balcony, it is so small that when it came time, I think about 5 years ago, I decided to recreate one of the venues in Lego. And there was really no question which it was going to be. It was going to be the small one. Yeah. And it came out pretty well. Those photos are up on SpyPartyFans.com if you care to see them. It's my pride and joy. I did think about doing Veranda next, but like, my God, have you seen how expensive Lego are?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very fair.
That's a lot of Lego. I did find a little gargoyle though, a little gargoyle figurine for the front.
Ooh.
Yeah. Welcome to the Summer Cup. This is,
So by the time this is over, it won't be summer anymore.
Yeah.
Despite what I said earlier, right?
Yeah.
Just waiting for internet issues to get sorted out.
Yeah. I'm going to start the cast in shorts. I'm going to end up in a parka. Okay. So they've finished the test. We will see what they conclude. It looked okay. We're going to find out in just a minute. I guess we'll know if they continue playing. So that will not go on the scoreboard, that balcony game, obviously, but even the gallery game. And I do think that's reasonable. I think that's a fair trade because obviously on one hand, Astatine did technically win. No questioning that. However, it also seemed obvious that Opie shot them with enough time. So I feel like both of them have kind of an equal amount of disappointment, which is how you know it's a good, fair compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Opie could say, I did win that game, right? And there is an asymmetry there, which is to say you still have a starting percentage. What is the likelihood the spy would win the gallery game against a good sniper? It's low to begin with. It's not very low. It's not library. It's not veranda, although we saw how the library game turned out. But neither is it Tayan or balcony or redwoods, right?
True.
So it's kind of a nice middle ground where it really does feel as close to fair as possible to just say none of that counted. On the other hand, the sniper did get a little look at the spy's playbook in that game. It's kind of like when they call offsides in the NFL, but you still get to see what play they were about to run sometimes. You get to see what their formation was. You get that little peek for free. And that little bit of information, that I think benefits the sniper more than the spy, because obviously the sniper gets to see all the things you did, and the spy only has a rough guess as to what the sniper was thinking.
And of course,
That is very true.
Yeah, it's worth remembering this is also a doubled venue, so they get, they're going to get even a little bit more info.
So this is probably not going to be the case, but I occasionally, if my research on an opponent was clear enough about something, I would occasionally have a game plan for like both games of a doubled venue. I would say game 1, I'm going to do this, game 2, I'm going to do that. Something like this would have thrown me off completely, because one of my 2 game plans would have been burned and I would have had to improvise a little more. Usually there's too much improvisation to be that firm in your plans, but every now and then I had a clear, like, this game I'm doing this, that game I'm doing that, or I expect this from their first game and this from their second. So depending on the amount of planning there, depending on what their research was like, they might have to say, okay, I'm going to do something completely different now. Or, of course, you have the double bluff of I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. Would I do the same thing? Do you think I would do the same thing again? Who would do that? And so that's the Yomi rabbit hole.
And are they going to pick the same cast? That would be...
I pick the same cast. I mean, that's the real...
Oh my god, that'd be wild.
Seek all over again?
Yes.
Oh boy. Probably not. If I'm the sniper, I'm thinking, you know what? I could low-light Seek here. That would be wild. Speaking of,
I don't think you go as far as low lighting Seek, because a lot of people do still at least let the spy character be true random and then pick the rest of the cast around it.
My favorite thing is people say, yeah, I do random, but what they really mean is they do random, but then if it lands on Smallman or one other character that's too suspicious, they just drag it over to someone else. Random except, I think, is what most are doing. Yeah, random-ish, random-esque. Yeah. I think that's what we're usually getting. I think true random is pretty freaking rare.
Yeah, random unless I'm on Orange Sorry or something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple, yeah. My favorite thing, though, was, just because we're waiting for them anyway, I noticed an opponent of mine selected a certain character a lot, Salmon, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was on special lookout for Salmon at various points. And I told them this after the match because we weren't going to play again. It was our second match, I think, in Diamond. I think it might have been Bloom. And they said, and they just started laughing. And I said, what's so funny? And they said, I pick Salmon a lot because I think of them as neutral. I was trying to avoid patterns, and I was thinking for the most neutral character. But apparently, I like neutrality so much that it became a tendency, and you noticed.
That's very funny.
It was very funny, but that's a spy party in a nutshell. Try to be neutral, inadvertently create something. Opie, of course, by the way, sending a little thank you to us for talking things out while they're going through this. Hey, man, Tobo and I can talk all day, and Kledos too, for that matter. So we are happy to have the opportunity. I'm happy to have the opportunity to regale you with old spy party war stories.
Yeah,
and it was war.
It sure felt like it, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, it was. Man, the old days of Crazy Kaylee dominance were a wild time. The man just couldn't be stopped.
No. He won all the SCLs for sure.
Yep. The only thing that could stop him is his own busy schedule.
There we go. Well, that was. I mean, Father Time is undefeated, as they say. That was always going to win in the end, one way or the other. There were a lot of close calls, a lot of things that could have gone one way or the other, but none of them ever did. So. That's how it goes sometimes. I remember, Tobo, you didn't play competitively too much, but you did occasionally, I remember, enter a couple of tournaments.
I tried a couple of times. I just sort of eventually settled on, this is too stressful for me to want to keep doing.
Yes. Turns out we all settled on that eventually.
Right. Yes. It's just you might have been smarter and figured it out sooner than the rest of us. Some of us stuck it out for years and then went, God, why did I do that? No, it's actually the opposite for me, which is to say I did not really enjoy it in the moment very much, but I always looked back on it fondly, right? When you do something hard and difficult, something stressful, very often later you're like, I'm glad I did that. I didn't enjoy it very much when it was actually happening, but it's important to put yourself out there. Yeah, yeah, and there's a benefit for casting. Certainly, there are certain things I would have only known by playing, but there's also a nice distance that comes with not being kind of in the weeds there. Because if we both played at a high level right now today, the cast would be different. We would be talking about pathing the whole time, and it would be opaque to new people, right? So
That's
you
true.
you certainly need that mix, and that's the whole thing about Spy Party is ostensibly you can understand what's going on a very simple level, but there's a lot of complicated stuff going on underneath the surface, which can enhance your understanding, but you don't need it to know, oh,
Yeah.
he shot that guy and that's the right guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And this game is opaque enough to the casual viewer without us getting into the weeds about what pathing is
I
slightly
know.
unacceptable every
Yeah.
game.
Although it's funny, to this day, you still see people new to the game and they think it's a party game. I mean, that's such a common sentiment, right? So on one hand, it's so obviously very complicated that we joke about how we need to simplify it for them. But then we also have this bifurcation where half the audience is still like, oh, that's just like a Guess Who simulator, right?
No, see, that's why I think it's so opaque to casual viewers as a game, because until you really get into it and start figuring out the strategies and like what's actually happening to get yourself good at this game, it does kind of just feel like Guess Who sometimes, where you're looking for just people being nebulously odd. And a lot of our jobs as casters is to help bridge that gap for people, to
Yeah.
show them the complicated side of the game without being completely ununderstandable.
Yeah. No, I think that's well put. I think you're right. I think they're still working on this, right?
Yeah. They were
Something that-
they're trying to start a new match. It looks like they were.
It looks like they're just about to.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
while we're waiting for them still, so Toboshi, I know you didn't play competitively too much. Do you have any specific memories, though, or anything maybe, if you don't have a specific memory, maybe the parts of the game that you felt most and least comfortable with?
I do have one memory that stands out to me.
Okay.
I think I actually clipped it and put it on my YouTube channel titled, not my YouTube channel, on my Twitch page titled The Panic Game. And this was back in the days of old art. We were on Library, which back then was called Panopticon. And I, at one point, misclicked. I think it was like a action priorities mishap. Wound up doing a hardtail, and then just sort of panicked and tried to get away from the situation, just into statues, get my inspects done, try to get things sorted from there. Accidentally swapped instead of doing the inspects. So I was just like full on panic mode for basically the entire game, just trying to get to the end. And I thought I was by far the most suspicious person in the entire party, and my opponent had no idea anything
there it
untoward
is.
happened.
As soon as you started describing the situation, I'm like, I think I know how this story ends, and it's perfect. It's classic
so
Spy
many
Party.
times.
So many times they have no idea. I mean, when I used to work the booth at PAX, you'd give that little tutorial, and we were just trying to cram in mechanics. We're trying to teach people how to play the game in a few minutes, which is really rough. So there's not a lot of time for like strategy, but I have occasionally been accused of talking very fast. So occasionally the opponent is getting the tutorial from another booth worker. So occasionally I would finish before them. Surprise, surprise. When that happened, I always had a couple bits of like general advice I would give them because, hey, we're just sitting here waiting anyway. They already know how to do the missions, ostensibly. And every single time, the first one is you are not as suspicious as you think you are. You're going to feel like they're staring at you, and I'm telling you, they almost never are, especially as a new sniper. So don't worry about it. I guess the moral of the story is you were on Team Do Stuff before it existed.
Yeah, I think whenever something went badly wrong for me,
yeah, you just did more stuff.
Yeah, exactly. My instinct was go do stuff, get to the end of the game.
I mean, it almost sounds like you were trying to run away from the mission site, but then you would go to another mission site and then misclick there too and compound things. So it's like maybe you were trying not to do stuff, but you just did stuff to spite yourself.
That is exactly what was happening, yes. Because I had this I think we used to call it the science effect back in the day, because
the
scientist was the guy. Yeah,
I
scientist
remember,
was the guy we noticed doing it a lot. Was he would line things up so that multiple hardtails would happen.
He would
Not
swap while the
necessarily-
purloin was pending, and then contact while that's pending, like that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly. He would line things up so while the sniper was like noticing a thing that happened and trying to react to it accordingly, another thing was already going on. And I had sort of assimilated, or was at least trying to assimilate that into my play style to sort of chain events together like that.
I love it. They're in another test balcony game, but it's just a test, so no rush. That does leave us just a minute for me to point out that you accidentally reinvented a famous military tactic, actually. I'm not kidding. It's called the OODA loop. OODA stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. The idea being that that's what a military does. They observe what you do, they orient themselves against it, they make a decision, and then they act on it. And the idea was that this is a loop, right? You have to observe something, orient yourself, decide, and then act. So if you can get inside that loop so that they are deciding and acting while you're doing the next thing they have to observe and orient towards, it's total chaos, right? You are doing the next thing while they're still reacting to the previous thing. So yeah, you reinvented basic military strategy. Good job.
That's awesome.
Should we try to get into this weird balcony game and see how they're testing the connection?
I mean, I kind of skipped past them. I don't know if.
Oh, fair enough.
Because I was hoping. I mean, they seemed successful as far as I could tell.
Looks like they have multiple tests here.
Yeah, they did two games.
Okay.
They just alternate.
balcony games.
One is spy, one is sniper for each of them. So.
Fair enough. And I guess if they haven't pinged us to tell us there's a problem, they're probably actually setting up for real to try this.
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, so I just burned an article because I do have a draft up about the OODA loop that I never got around to finishing. But that was the basic idea, is that in SpyParty, you can get inside the OODA loop and it leads to total panic.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. Yeah, no, scientists back in the day, one of the first top snipers. I think a big deal in SEL 2 and 3, I want to say. I had some very fun matches against them. A very high variance player too. I never knew what I was going to get with them. I think since you mentioned it, more old war stories. I remember probably scientist's best competitive moment was in, I think it was the SpyParty it was the New Art tournament or was the Invitational? I can't remember which, but it was a double elimination tournament, and they were in the losers bracket early on, and they met I think KCM in the final, and they had to win 2 sets as a result. It's called the King Seat if you've ever played in double elimination. Because if you make it to the finals against someone in single, who hasn't been beaten yet, you have to beat them twice. It's double elimination, and he did. He beat KCM twice, which is very hard to do. But I remember, I remember, since we're still waiting for them, you mentioned earlier that we didn't have replays. We did have replays then, but we did not have spectation, and it was live. And I remember this. We had them connect their replays folder to a Dropbox that we both had access to so that the replays would show up a few seconds after they were uploaded. And it kind of worked. We basically invented our own form of quasi-spectation with duct tape and glue, probably before it happened. God, can you guys see how badly we wanted to cast this game, the kind of trouble we went on to? We do have a tech update here. Opie says, my internet stability was at question, just moved into a new place, causing issues. I have moved on to phone tethering and appear to be stable. Oh, my Lord.
Wow. That is dedication.
Yep.
That is, I hope you got a good phone plan. I really do. That's wild. Okay. Yeah. Phone tethering the Summer Cup Finals. This is what it's come to.
All right. So it seems like they are jumping back into the game right around now. So we probably have another 4 minutes or so to kill before they're done playing it and we get to cast it.
This has been a rain delay of approximately 25 minutes. Thanks for staying with us while we put the tarp on the field and then roll it back up. That's
man.
pretty much what's been going on.
Running
Yeah,
track
now we're
with the
just going to wait.
baseball references here on
I
brand.
mean, come on. I had to. We do have to point that out, though. You realize that, no offense to our current contingent here, less than half the chat understands that that's a baseball term, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Warning track is a baseball term, y'all. Baseball is a sport without an E attached to it. It's something people do outside. When people say touch grass, that's the kind of thing they mean. There's a lot of grass in baseball. Google it if you want to know more. It's a cool term. I just picked it when I was 11, and I've had it ever since.
That's some dedication. I'm actually slightly...
Well, it helps that I didn't pick a really silly username when I was 11, like almost everybody who wishes they could change it now.
Well, I did change mine.
Good
From
for you.
what, I'm not going to say.
I wouldn't want to know.
Toboshi is pretty ancient for me as well. I don't remember when it happened, but I remember it was a long time ago.
Well, at least
All right,
13
I think
years
we
ago.
do have the next game ready. It's going to be Gallery, AstatineEffect on the spy side. Once again, it's 3-2 in OpiWrites' favor. Let's get back into the swing of things in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Oh, we're getting some real baseball fans in the chat here. There's some very obscure statistics being mentioned here. I'm more of a WRC plus guy, personally, but that's a good one out there.
That's a quick little 51% off the flirt right at the front of the party there. That's a nice pickup to start the game.
I mean, this is what we wanted to do. It'd be kind of funny if they do run it back a little bit, but with just a more amenable party.
Yeah, we shall see. In comes the seduction target.
So Seek is in the party, but is not the spy. We were not crazy.
Would have been quite enjoyable.
Quite a flex.
There's a green test purloin to open things up as well. And we get oh, that's a bug on the way out! It doesn't actually take. It was just a little bit of an awkward leave.
Oh boy.
Man, that could have been so big if it hit, because this reject chain is still going. It's not a long one time-wise, but it's a long one as far as number of cast members. There's
and microfilm too, by the way. While this is happening. I mean, I think you called it, Tobo. This is the OODA loop.
It certainly is. So we've got the purloin done. We've got green microfilm in pocket. We've got half a flirt done. This should be the second half. He's able to hit the green test. He unfortunately... Oh, wait. He actually is able to hit the green test. I thought something else had happened there.
I mean, forget the purloin and the microfilm. Getting a 2 flirt on Gallery, really big.
It really is.
What a game.
But with the amount of progress he's had so far, this could be a huge turnaround.
Yeah, it really could. And by the way, that microfilm removal happening right there with the guest list. Like they weren't looking somewhere else. It was really like, I dare you to catch this. Now, obviously, you have the occlusion from that conversation because they're on the right side of the green shelf. That's the part that gets the coverage. But still, it was pretty gutsy.
Imagine if the bug took.
Oh, this game would be basically over.
Minute and 45 left to play. Off we go to the blue bookcase. This is going to be probably the hardest remaining part of the game for AstatineEffect, trying to get this microfilm in the blue book without being caught for it.
But the ambassador was out front when they started. They just came in. That's huge. There's the microfilm. There's a zoom out and coverage from the pillar. That is clean.
That's huge.
Wow. The timing. I mean, the timing's a little bit of a guess, obviously, but it ended up being dead on.
OpiWrites just barely in the wrong spot to cover that. Now is in a commanding position to finish out this game.
How do we finish now? I mean, you just want to contact. You just want to do it.
If you can find a clean contact, and they are in this bet conversation.
Here it comes.
The only risk here is if you step in and immediately take it.
Oh boy, but the risk of them leaving, you've got to be so careful here.
Honestly, that's probably enough time to have waited.
Yeah. If they leave, you're in huge trouble.
There's the take.
Banana bread.
There's the contact. We're getting low lights instead of safety off. What a game from AstatineEffect.
Microfilm, man. I mean, animation microfilm on Gallery. The first one, sure, not too hard, but the second one, man, that was the one where they could have got you. What a run back after this long delay. Although you have to say now, in retrospect, who's going to get hurt more from that 25-minute delay? It's going to be the sniper.
That's true.
If you had to guess, right?
And now we are level at 3. I thought that was a doubled venue, but maybe they forgot?
We're throwing out the whole playbook today, boys.
It was indeed doubled. Oh, they remembered.
Oh, they figured it
There we
out.
go.
Everything's fine.
We got a quick flash of Tayan just to mess with us. But it's gallery now. Don't worry. I mean, hey, look, to be fair, I don't remember anything that happened before the delay, so.
Yeah, 25 minutes is a long wait, but we're back in it. OpiWrites on the spy side now versus AstatineEffect Sniper, tied at 3 in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Well, it is now a shortened set. The early library win completely washed away by the latency issue. If you're Opie, you just have to not go on tilt from that, right? You can't feel sorry for yourself. You can't say that sucks. You have to say it's just what happens. Now you play a shorter set for the entire tournament.
But look at the start to this game. It's looking very similar to Astatine's. It's just that instead of taking that 51% at the front window, we got it at one of the paintings. Out with the green book, back into conversation. Not in range for the 2 flirt, but still looking very good. White test either way, so it wouldn't have mattered. It's 78% on the flirt at the moment.
It's not just the game that's looking a lot like Astatine's game. It's the character looking a lot like Astatine's character, too. I mean, we've got the green book. We did not microfilm it. We've taken it out, and who knows which way that's going to go. But I do like that as a sort of way to break up the flirt, right? It's one thing to leave and come right back, but when you've got a book you're putting away in the meantime, you have a little more purpose.
Yeah. Section target heads all the way out front and is making their way back in now. Looks like they're at statues, so no quick third flirt. Let's see what OpiWrites decides to do with this, and it looks like it's off to blue bookcase to put this book away. Does AstatineEffect know where the book came from? One way or another, it doesn't look like they're on top of it.
Well, there's definitely no reason to shoot yet, so the real test is going to come with some of those Q missions, as I like to call them. The thing that concerns me for OpiWrites right now...
That's a bug on the way out!
Oh, no. As soon as we settle down, yep, there it is.
Yeah. It looked really good for a moment, but unfortunately, the way the turn worked, we turned the wrong way out of that pad, and that was enough to delay us just long enough for the put out of that arm to be a lot more visible than we expected it to be.
So here's the thing. The ambassador walks by you. It's the ultimate risk reward. You can't have planned it, so it's not that suspicious that you're by the ambassador.
Right.
But that also means you have a split second to make the decision. Very often when you have a second or two, you'd go, think better of it. I might have gotten away with microfilm already. I'm already in a good position to win. I've got plenty of time. The seduction's going well. But when you have to decide that in half a second, and you already are on team do stuff, your default position, your null hypothesis is do the thing. And when you only have that moment to consider it, sometimes you don't have time to think better of it. I think we might have been in trouble anyway, though. It's possible that the bug was just confirmation because the ambassador and the guest list were hanging around the back of the venue. So Astatine was zoomed in pretty much that entire time. They were not distracted by much out front. But as always, we will not find out until afterwards.
Back in for our last game of Gallery we go. It's AstatineEffect on the spy side once more versus OpiWrites Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And Astatine now on the verge of sort of maintaining a lead. I know technically, we see a lead in the number, but we know that's not the same thing.
That's such an early bug! Woo! It was a pretty good one, too. It was right in the middle of camera, but that's not a place where you expect an ambassador to get jumped from.
No, not at all. And there's nothing to indicate from the camera side, at least, that it was seen. Doesn't mean it wasn't, but there's no indication that I can see.
That is a huge bug from AstatineEffect, and man, oh man, are they playing aggressive on Gallery.
Yeah, but you could see they were waiting for that seduction target because they're thinking now the only way I lose this game, right, is either the sniper takes a great shot or I can't track down my seduction target or the double agent is not amenable. So they're hanging around waiting for Cowboy here to go somewhere. Look at that. They just do a loop around those statues waiting for Cowboy to finish up. And they're going to chase them all the way. Oh, goodness. Cowboy does not want to be seduced.
No, drops into bookcase instead, and with someone else already there. AstatineEffect can't afford to cram themselves in between, so they drop out to the conversation instead, in with the double agent, but this is not where they intended to be. We are able to get a print off the drink, though, a difficult print at that.
Good backup plan. I like it. I like where Asta's head is at, though. When they get that bug, first of all, they say, I'm going to assume I got away with it. That's just a safer assumption at this point. It's more valuable to assume that. By the way, finished fingerprint on a standard briefcase.
Yeah.
But I'm going to assume I got away with the bug. So what am I worried about now? I'm worried about flirt. They immediately pivoted to flirt. It didn't work through some bad luck, but that was the right way to think, is how do I lose this game now if I'm not already dead? And it's the seduction target not being very kind, which has been the case.
Absolutely. So, bug done, print done, 34% on the flirt with 2 minutes to play. This is a little bit spooky as far as the flirt goes, but very much on curve time-wise other than that. Even ahead of curve other than that. We're still in conversation with the double agent here. This is a decent time, not a fantastic time, but a decent time to take it.
I think you have to take whatever you can get at this point. You're waiting for the seduction target. They went all the way outside, and now they're staying outside. This is really rough for Asta. This is how you lose a game you might otherwise be in control of. Again,
take the
assuming
contact, chase the flirt. There's the contact. We have not chased the flirt. I thought we were going to basically split there and head outside.
We do have enough time, though. We can wait a little bit here. Here's the problem. If you decide to go all the way out there and the seduction target leaves, it looks real bad to pull that 180 and go back in.
Yeah, I think at that point you have to almost,
which is why we're doing this.
Find a different plan.
We are treading water deliberately. We're paddling in place, waiting for something to open up, something to change, and it's just not happening. And look at that. The second they start to move, the seduction target moves too. Oh my God, this is right on the line.
This is brutal. 49 seconds on the clock. It looks like they are heading into conversation.
Oh God, this is so hard to watch. Oh, it finally worked out.
They did land. They take that flirt and immediately step away, but OpiWrites was on top of it. Saw the plan. Unfortunately, put together a brilliant game, was just not able to track down the seduction target.
They got the highlight for the path into conversation. I really think there were some mental errors there at the end. I know you don't want to put yourself at the mercy of the seduction target again, but I think you had to stop at one of those painting pads and see where they landed rather than play pinball with them, because that's what pulled the game back. And then they were highlit for the aggressive flirt and then stopped, talked, and walked out right away, and that's when the shot came off. It's possible they were already a suspect. That seems a little more likely based on the shot, but once they were being looked at, it was over. I know you don't want to do it again. You already did that. You already waited around for the seduction target twice, and it burned you both times. But at a certain point, you have to realize the only way you're going to win is if that luck evens out. And I think if they'd settled on that pad and then headed in, they might have had a chance.
Here's the thing. I think instead of going to the outside and waiting on the window pad, I think they had to just shoulder their way into that conversation out front and get that flirt one way or another. I think that was their way to finishing missions in that game rather than just waiting and hoping.
I think you're right. I think the die was cast about a minute earlier. You know, it was a reasonable decision at the time, but you know, if there's one place you can kind of get away with that, it's out front.
It's 4-4 the game score. Heading into Redwoods next. OpiWrites on the spy side first. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Boy, these have been some really, really competitive games.
Yeah, for sure. This is the finals for a reason. They're putting on a show for us.
Well, we can see about half the show right now.
There are certainly trees involved. We did start at this front statue here, right next to the seduction target, but unable to flirt because it's not the same pad. But we are able to track them down at the window immediately after to pick up 34% on a close white flirt. We did take a highlight for the statue visit. This is not a suspicion highlight. This is just statue tracking.
So I mentioned earlier that I would tell new players that they're not as suspicious as they think they are, and the sniper's not noticing you as much as you think. On Redwoods, it's that same advice, except you can say it about the best snipers in the world, too.
Yeah, that is very true. You just are usually not on camera. Now, if you're standing right next to the ambassador, you're probably on camera, but in most other situations, you're just not on camera.
Yeah, and I do want to see who's going to give first on the bug wars. They keep bugging on each other, and I think they're starting to notice more and more. Everyone knows it's going to happen, and yet it keeps happening. And there it is, and there's the hand visible.
Oh my god, that was a really nice bug. They're still going.
I think they're done. No, they're done. They're done. Yep.
Not nice enough. It was a bit too bold. It was good, but it was just too bold.
So this is a classic case of if you're watching from spy camera, you think that might be perfect, but on the sniper side, you could see the hand is just there. And the rotation, the pacing like a lion, you know, looking at its prey. That sniper thing where you go around the trees and then back and then back and back and forth, and you look like you're moving, but you're really going around a central point. If you took the left and right movement and averaged it out, you'd find the spy and the ambassador right in the middle. You're trying to create the illusion of looking all over the place, but you're really watching that one spot. Astatine was watching it entirely, and the open hand was visible, and the bullet followed.
Yeah, if he was able to get horizontal a little bit faster, he might have been
Yes.
able to disguise that hand, but just a little bit too diagonal for a little bit too long winds up getting him caught. Astatine up now 5-4 as they step into the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I may have looked foolish earlier, but he made me look smart there on the bug wars comment. It just something has to give. They can't keep getting away with it against each other. They both know they're going to do it. At a certain point, someone's going to start really camping bug, which I think we just saw, and the other person's going to have to start looking at something else instead every time the ambassador is vulnerable. You have to mix it up. So
AstatineEffect gets a quick start over at the green bookcase, is able to pick up 51% on the flirt and a inspect at the same time. So that's a good start coming out from AstatineEffect there.
And OpiWrites is doing the exact same movement now on the ambassador and the spy that we saw in the previous game. We are occasionally taking it off screen, but just enough for deniability so you don't feel like you're being laser burned. Sometimes, when you're watching them that closely, you want them to bug. You're trying to bait it out.
Absolutely. There's a print on the briefcase on the way out of the bookcase there.
I think fingerprint pretty darn strong on Redwoods.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so hard to track. There's just keeping what you need to be on camera is enough of mental overhead without tracking all the little places that have prints on them.
Well, and the non-inspect certainly a big deal too.
Yeah, unfortunately, not able to get that flirt off before the seduction target steps away. So out for a time ad and immediately back into conversation. Again, that kind of thing you can absolutely get away with this venue because not on camera when the ambassador's not nearby. There's the contact coming off. That's a very good contact.
It is, but interestingly enough, OpiWrites was actually looking at the spy, saw the talk, and zoomed in on them briefly, almost like they were thinking about highlighting. It might have been a coincidence, but pretty strange for Redwoods to be that on the spy for just a white BB.
Very true. Keeping the seduction target well in their sights, waiting to see if that lines up well. We've got 51% on the flirt, we've got the 1 inspect, we've got the 1 fingerprint, and we've got the contact done. The seduction target comes to see us and immediately gets red tested away.
That might be deliberate because they just walked by the ambassador and Opie was zoomed in on them. I wonder if they're trying to manipulate this a little bit. It could just be a misclick, but I remember thinking right when they took that path, I thought, interesting frame target, and it's a seduction target, which means you have a little control over making them look suspicious too. I would be really worried right now if I were Buns.
Banana bread.
And we're timing it to the talk. We're timing it to the talk of Buns, too. This looks like a frame attempt.
Yeah, it certainly does. There's no other reason to take a fake contact there.
I think we're all over this.
I don't think she has a real.
Yeah, that's bad luck right there. It was a very reasonable guess, and this is a really nice move from Asta, but I just don't think the party's... Yeah, I don't think the party's doing it.
Out and in, like last time.
It was not really visible. That's really smooth, really good. Listen, win or lose, I don't know if it's going to work right now, but this is a really good game from Asta. I'm going to say the best game they played so far. They're so observant right now about the rest of the party. And that's the hardest thing. You're thinking about your missions a little bit, but to actually be watching and to say this person is a good frame target on not on a small venue either, really big deal.
Yeah.
Are we going to red flirt them again? Are we going to try to manipulate them again one more time?
I suspect we are.
But we do have enough progress that we could rush at the end if we really wanted to, and this might be the backup plan. The shot has not come off yet, and now we're thinking, well, I can still try to finish because I had partial progress across 3 different missions when I went in on that frame attempt.
So white test on the flirt up to 85%, minute and 10 left to play. We've got some work to do here, but we've got enough progress to make it look pretty doable.
Here's the problem, though. You can't finish inspects at that printable statue. That's the big problem right now.
No, I think you have to go to red books to finish the inspects.
Boy. And there's the print smudged by Pencil Stash anyway, and now it's looking more and more like, I guess we're going to try to timer flirt and then rush 2 missions, hoping for inspects.
There's the timer flirt. There's the shot on someone entirely different. Pearls takes the briefcase and takes a bullet, and AstatineEffect's relentless time ads manage to find them a game win.
And we learned something about what plan would have worked and wouldn't have. We already had one fingerprint, and it seems very likely that Pearls got shot for completing fingerprints based on the timing of that shot. So if we had tried to finish, if we'd been Team Do Stuff and tried to rush those 2 missions in the last 30 seconds, I think we would have gotten the bullet that civilian got instead.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that puts AstatineEffect up a break. It's 6-4, the scoreline. That is
this is brutal. This is brutal because you know what we're going to do at the end of this match, right? We're going to look at the record before the gap, and we're going to look at the record after the gap. And right now, those look like 2 different matches.
They do. But man, oh man, after the break, AstatineEffect has been on it on the spy side. They've been playing just so well.
Look, they were playing well the whole time, but Opie certainly looked better up to that point, you have to say. Had the lead, seemed to have shot the spy again, was going to maintain their lead, great. So if anyone needed a mental reset, when you're behind, anything that shakes up the status quo is a good thing. And when you're ahead, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's a good point. On to Ballroom, our next stop. It's OpiWrites again on the spy side first. Now needs a spy win to get back level versus AstatineEffect Sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you told Opie you need a spy win to get back in the game, there's 0 question where he would want to get it.
That's a very good point. OpiWrites definitely a fan of this particular venue, the oldest venue in the book by a wide margin. And it's 28% off of the initial white flirt and a green purloin to boot.
We are not cowed by this little losing streak here by losing the lead. We are being aggressive, and there's a reject from a green dress. If we get one more, this is going to get real interesting.
There's the request to extend the time delay a little bit.
We're not going to get a good look at this. Oh, we actually did get kind of a good... Wow, you never get a good look like that on Ballroom. That was really fortunate. And here's the big deal. We low-lit the taker, Seek. That is huge. The list now is cut way down if we were watching.
It absolutely is.
It's so rare to get a look at that fade there.
Here's the thing. Not having any highlights on the people who were in that reject chain is actually probably a bad thing for OpiWrites. It means AstatineEffect really knows what's going on here.
You're right. That is a bit of a red flag, potentially, is that sometimes you don't bother with the highlights because you know exactly who your suspects are and there's no reason. You're not going to forget. You do not need to be reminded. You're going to be staring at them anyway. And right now, the center of gravity, I talked about that before, the left to right movement, but what center point are you moving left and right over? Astatine's laser is hidden on the pillar just to the spy's left. This feels very much like we are staring at Wheels.
It certainly does. There's the second flirt. Another white at mid-range brings it to 60%.
Classic take a drink after the purloin. Who would do that? Not me. I'm not the spy, but there's a fingerprint.
A difficult fingerprint that he does collect successfully as well. If OpiWrites is as suspicious as we think he is, getting 2 difficult prints is not going to save him. But if what we're putting together is not as ironclad as it maybe looks to our perspective, that could be pretty big.
Banana bread.
Fake contact in with a suspected double agent, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does give a couple of highlights are real, but Teal isn't one of them, and she's been to center statues, so I don't think the party's giving us a lot to frame with, unfortunately, and that's normally what you're thinking when you get away with a purloin early in the game, so we are suddenly in a little bit of trouble. That shot not coming off means Opie's gotta move into action now, probably do a lot of stuff real quick.
Can he hit the white test on this flirt? I mean, green test, no, he cannot. It is white. It's 94%, and
That has
that's
to change the
probably
plan.
the nail in the coffin for
Yes.
the mission completions.
I mean, we're
Does
doing
go
this-
for the
oh, boy.
contact, though. He's not giving up on this. 20 seconds to play.
I would have thought that the flirt not taking would have been it, but we're just gonna rush anyway.
Into
You never know.
briefcase.
Oh my God, are we gonna? I mean, we're probably gonna get to
We're
mission
gonna
win countdown,
finish. It's
but
10
are we gonna
seconds.
win?
It's gonna be overtime, but we're gonna finish missions here. No, the seduction target steps away.
Ew.
5
Chase the
seconds.
windows.
We chase the windows. Here's the flirt. 1 second left.
There's a highlight next to us.
Overtime.
There's a highlight
What's
next
the
to us.
Reaction. Somehow OpiWrites wins that game.
Team do stuff, wins that one. You know, it hasn't always worked, but it worked this time. We were not as big a suspect as we thought. The seduction target spurned us, but we rolled with the punches, so to speak. We end up at the window, staring the sniper in the face, but we were next to a highlight, and a different highlight entirely gets shot. Not getting a highlight in that game clearly is what saved us.
I thought we had lost that to the flirt twice in that sequence, and he still made it happen. That was wild.
I mean, it's crazy. That white test flirt with 34 seconds left, getting only to 94. I figured, like you said, that was going to be it, but we just found a way to get it done. We just kept on rolling, and we get it. We get it. We get the win we absolutely needed. And I guess, you know, when you're on your favorite venue, man, you can get away with that kind of stuff.
Let me just say, after missing the green test on that second last flirt, he put the pedal to the metal immediately. If he had waited a single second to come up with a plan, that wouldn't have worked.
I mean, the thing that I really thought was going to fail him at the end is that when you have that much overtime, they really do have time to think about it. You know, they don't have to take a panic shot. But even while thinking about it, they went through 3 or 4 progressions, and then they flicked their laser to the right and shot leopard print instead. Boy, you just never know.
You really don't. And that puts OpiWrites right back in contention. They're on the sniper side now of a venue they like a lot versus AstatineEffect Spy, which, mind you, has been crazy good these last few games. Let's see how this one plays out in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Opie did say before that they felt good about their spy lately, especially in the last match in the semifinals against C-Rams, but they were more concerned about how their sniper was going to respond. So far, it seems dead on. The sniper's been pretty good, but the spy has really been the star. There's the bug.
It's a decent bug. Wrong arm on the way back behind a conversation. That's hard to see.
I mean, it wasn't visible. It was behind pillar. This is clearly just a, can you infer it from the suspicious path? How much do you care? That's just what this is. We are at the mercy of the sniper's movement and guessing. There is no indication from how they moved or didn't move that they saw it at all, but we know the good snipers can credit it out of necessity.
Green test on the first flirt from a middle distance brings us to 42% on that. But with the bug already done, AstatineEffect is in a very good position here. Looks like we're heading out for the double agent. No, it's going to be the side statues.
Interesting choice at this point in the game. I guess we're going to try to get this done. We're going to try to avoid... I mean, this is what we saw before, right? I mentioned earlier on Gallery that you act like you get away with the bug clean, or the purloin clean, or what is it? But I think it was bug that time. And I said, what's the only thing you worry about is not finishing flirt. So they're going to assume I got away with the bug. How do I lose this game? I lose this game by trying to go to center statues late and getting shot for random suspicion. So do it now. Figure out, with this out of the way, how do I lose? And then do that or account for that.
Absolutely. AstatineEffect playing this pretty well. There's the contact coming off. There's another green flirt. Again, a middle range flirt brings up to 84% on 2 greens. All we need now is to finish this flirt. We've got the bug done. We've got the contact done. We've got the inspects done. We've got a minute and a half to play. This is going to be such a hard shot for OpiWrites to find.
It is essentially the rarest thing to lose the game on, is an innocuous flirt at the end of the game, especially a timer flirt.
Unless you're on balcony, but we're
Unless you're on balcony. Nope, we're on a real venue, so no.
I don't see.
This would be an unbelievable shot. I remember seeing this once, Winter Cup Finals, Aberar and Crazy Kaylee on Tayen, but that's a little different. This would be one of the more impressive flirt shots we've ever seen in competitive history, if Opie actually takes this shot.
I think the only way it would have happened is if he caught him on taking the flirt right on the 45, but the seduction target stepping away kind of ruins that for us. So we chase him down to a different conversation circle. We wait a little bit so we're not jumping the gun on this. There's the flirt. There's the countdown. OpiWrites has no reason to pull the trigger. And AstatineEffect claps right back. It's 5-7, the scoreline.
That's a huge response after Opie's big win. I mean, it would be so easy to be tilted by that rush that Opie had in the previous game, but to keep your calm and play that game, and it was just 2 things. It was obviously getting away with the bug early on, and keeping your presence of mind after that, and playing the boring, slow, clean game, and not rushing it.
Yep. That said, this is still OpiWrites' venue, and we do still have 2 more games of it to play because he doubled it. So that puts OpiWrites back on the spy side, looking to see if he can take another swing at this in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Well, there's a huge storm going on here. Pardon any noise you hear in the background. It's about as turbulent as it is in the match itself.
All right, and OpiWrites again starts things off with the very early 51% flirt. It's out to the green bookcase to chase down the seduction target, and pulls out the green book to work with later.
I mean, this is just his home field, man. He's comfortable. It kind of doesn't matter what happened in the previous game. He's got a million ways to win on Ballroom, but right now, he really just needs one.
Let's see if he can find a successful trick to pull out of the bag.
He's got a lot of them, but he's also used them all over the years. He's probably cycled through them all occasionally.
It's very true. That is a very high value conversation he's looking at. Maybe even more high value now that the ambassador's left. That's a straight standing bug. The ambassador drops him next to him, and he just right clicks.
I mean, that is 100% on screen, but the arm is coming out of the pillar. So the eyes could just have been elsewhere. I talk about this all the time. People love walking bugs. 70, 80% of bugs competitively, when I used to track these things, were walking bugs. And I get it, certainly. But the standing bugs were always a little underrated. They are more visible. However, they're so quick. So if you time it and their eyes are just flitting away for a second, they flit back and the bug is already over. It's an all or nothing kind of maneuver. The question is, which one was it? All or nothing?
I think it was all, because he was behind the pillar before it started, as you say. So AstatineEffect had no reason to really think the ambassador was in any danger at that
And I think the ambassador came up to him, is that right? Because if it is,
correct.
That's a big deal then, right? Oh,
the shot comes off going back into green bookcase.
There it is. There it is. So, I mean, given that that was the right shelf, the bug was seen.
I think so.
It was a good bug. It was a good gambit. I don't mind it for the reasons I described. But, again, both of these gentlemen, stubborn bugs. At some point, you got to accept that they are camping the hell out of bug, and you've got to do something else while the ambassador is elsewhere. Who's going to do it first? Who's going to mix it up first? It almost has to be Opie, because the status quo is not going to get it done anymore.
Yeah, because they're both still leaning heavily on the bugs, but it's AstatineEffect who's made the adjustment from the sniper side. OpiWrites is going to have to find some other way to get their progress done, and AstatineEffect is now looking at a significant lead from the Spy side. If they can win this game, that's going to be a huge lead in this match. But OpiWrites is still very good at this game. Let's see what they can do from the sniper side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
We don't say, famously, we do not say must win until it's literally must win. But this is a big
That's a bug.
And
That
again,
was
in
a
the time of
very
chaos.
good bug in the time of chaos, just as people were landing in conversation, and because of the way the arm lined up, that was hard to see as well. One of the nicer standing bugs you'll see.
We're not hard to see, though, because we're glowing because we got a highlight for it. So Opie, at least, I'm sure he looked at the replay on that previous game and said, wow, he got away with an early bug. I just completely missed it. He has to maybe consider crediting this now, and the highlight certainly suggests that he is. So if you're Astatine and you kind of make slow, steady progress, you get a real contact, you get your inspects in, going to be very hard, I think, to get away with this again. Fool me twice, right? Just like before.
Yeah. Well, we shall see how this goes moving forward. There's the first flirt. It is a close white for 34%.
I think Astatine's going to do the same thing, right? They're going to say, I assume I got away with it, and I'm just going to run the game nice and clean, but I don't think it's going to work this time. I think Opie's going to learn from the last one.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. The whole story of this game right now is how visible was that bug? How much did Opie see? There's the contact coming off. A good few lowlights come out of it, but certainly nothing disastrous. So that's bug done, contact done. One flirt and in position for a second.
It's a few good lowlights, but we're also talking during it. We're zoomed in on during it, and we stop talk afterwards. So if Opie's watching us for any of those things, this is the case is really starting to build.
White test on the second flirt, 68%. And into center statues, this is a dangerous place to be.
Oh boy. If we're not shot here, then Opie is in big trouble potentially. But there's no reason to shoot left. You have 5 or 6 seconds, and a good sniper knows that. Opie knows that. You can wait to see if anything else happens. Fingerprint too, boy.
Printable
Oh boy.
statue as well. That is.
Oh, there's the shake.
Yeah,
Yep.
he just takes the shot. He wasn't happy about it, but he was willing to pull the trigger, and it was the correct decision.
I mean, it's so rare that we are totally on what the sniper's mindset is, but I think in that one we actually had it. Opie's sitting there thinking, oh no, is this happening again? I have to watch for those inferred bugs. I didn't see it, but if they run it back the same way, I know I keep saying run it back, but that's because it keeps happening. If they try to do that soft tail finish and it's a fingerprintable center statue and they have real and they were talking during it and I have them with the highlight for the early bug, I don't want to shoot because I didn't actually see anything. So we get the angry shake and the shot might end up saving Opie's tournament.
Yeah, it very well could. That was the adjustment that OpiWrites needed. And now we're going to someplace a little bit weird. It's pub 3 of 7. So this is going to be a little bit of a reset for these two folks because this is just a very different venue to play on. OpiWrites on the Spy side first. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
The quest for a competitively compelling pub is kind of still on, I guess. From what I understand, this is the best we've found, and it is interesting, but I don't think it's all the way there. I think we're going to need some structural changes one of these days, but this has turned into a little bit more of a bluffing game sometimes, I think.
Yeah, and very early time ad from the inside window as well for OpiWrites. So
I mean, that's the kind of stuff you do on this venue, right? You do aggressive, fake. Yeah, see, like this is when the bag of tricks comes out. This is a little bit of, hey, if the sniper does a really good job, it's going to come down to how much party help I get, right? If I just overwhelm them with soft tail finish potential. But if I don't get that, a good sniper is basically never going to lose to me. So I'm going to kick up a bunch of dust, give the party time to do stuff, and just hope it works. But you're not usually trying to get missions done here, except out of desperation. Yeah. And boy, you could do that on Ballroom maybe, but here, with this high vantage point, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting throw on the fake contact, because even a pretty good-looking fake contact on this venue usually gives up quite a bit of information. Case in point, 6 lowlights.
Oh boy, that's a lot. Even for pub, that's a lot.
Yeah.
We always have an over-under in our mind, right? 3.5, 3 is bad, 4 is good for veranda, something like that. 6 isn't good, I don't think, anywhere.
No, it is simply not a good contact. It looked pretty good from where OpiWrites was standing, but yeah, just did not work out.
It's amazing how many of these games turn on that. The spy will make a pretty good decision about where the SDAs likely are based on how many people are in conversation, and one or two of them are out, and it just turns out it's terrible.
Double agent drops in to
And the
say
underground.
hi, so does the ambassador. There's the contact. Double agent steps away immediately afterwards. Very little reaction on that contact. Possibly they were worried about it being... Oh, wow. Another fake after the fact. That's very interesting.
I mean, we're doing what we can. Oh my goodness, I can't
actually,
believe
it's
it worked.
enough to bait out a shot.
And it's that plus fingerprints. It's that simple. Wow, I can't believe that worked. This might be the break OP needs.
That is a very unusual game plan, and man, oh man, did it work out this time. The party giveth and the party taketh away, for sure. When the AI are willing to put their hands on a lot of stuff, it's always helpful for a spy.
Look, it's not how you dream of coming back in these kind of sets, but you can't be picky.
Absolutely. 7-8, the current scoreline. OpiWrites on the sniper side of Pub has a chance to draw us back level in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So now, as the sniper, you're like, please, please, just don't do that to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the way,
What a set this has been so far.
It's been a great set. But maybe the key there was the ambassador sidled right up to Opie, and Opie did not attempt to bug.
True. A little bit of restraint with the ambassador after a set that has looked like this set has looked. That can go a surprisingly long way.
Discretion, the better part of valor, for sure. And we saw Astatine similarly resist a Time of Chaos bug around the pub doorway there, playing the same character, I believe, and in the same spot now. And we're delegating immediately to Pearls, who already has a highlight, and we get low lit for that entrance, but I wonder if this is a tracking maneuver. Hard to say.
It may well be. We shall see. 28% on the early flirt. What does the reaction to this purloin look like?
We did it quick, so I do think it'll go off. But
No, I think there's enough people at this bar that even with how quick that came off, it might not even take.
You might be right. This is going to be tight. Oh, I think what Kane gave up. That might be the difference.
Gave up.
It's huge. Is it going to take?
Sidling over for the bug.
It does.
Gets the bug just as the purloin takes as well. Both those came off within half a second of each other.
And we're low lit. This is absolutely disastrous. We might give that gift game right back.
Back into bar we go. We're here for the flirt, not for the drink. That one was a close green to bring us up to 79%. 1 minute to play. And all we need to do is finish this flirt.
Flirting before drinking is the cart before the horse, and that's appropriate given that your seduction target is an equestrian. But at this point, I don't see anything. We talked about shooting for a flirt. Imagine doing that to a low light on pub. It's not looking good.
No, it is not.
Goodness. This is about to happen.
Sidles over and orders another drink as an excuse to get the flirt off. Man, oh man, OpiWrites have had some good wins on the spy game, but they just can't seem to convert it. Astatine still in the lead, 7-9.
It's crazy to think that, we don't know what that low light was for, but it might have been for pathing, kind of an awkward entrance, but like who would do that, right? The classic Yomi thing again. And if that's what loses him the game, a game that normally if you play it straight, you're just going to win, right? Take a pathing low light or two and to have that be the spy, absolutely brutal. But if you're Astatine, you're just thinking, that works, pub for the dub.
Absolutely wild stuff. AstatineEffect retains their lead as OpiWrites steps into the spy side of Modern. Next up, it's 4 of 8 versus Astatine Sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
4 missions to go, 4 more wins for Astatine to take this tournament. Both players, by the way, lost in the semis last time, which is kind of funny because, I think it was an upset on both sides. Take nothing away from the other players, of course. I think Nebula was the champ last year. But Astatine is coming off a Winter Cup victory, too. So
yeah,
probably the hotter of the two players. OpiWrites, little rustier maybe, but has played very well this set. But There's just no more margin, and when you're behind like this, to see these big venues, it's really rough because you know splits are things you don't have time for anymore.
At least it's a 4 of venue. It's not one of the overwhelming ones for a spy. There are very long walking paths here,
Right.
but it doesn't really play as big as some of the other venues do.
No, and it gives you a lot of creativity. There are a lot of ways to complete here, but you do have to space things out because of the walking.
So a slow start from OpiWrites. All he's really got is a delegate with just over 3 minutes to play. There's the first flirt coming cross conversation. It was a green, but it was also only 25%.
Yeah, that's
There's
pretty
a
rough.
delegate.
I mean, that's what we really came into this conversation for, and it looks like it's going to take, but there are already highlights where one of them, the person we've delegated to, is the other. This is going to be a little hard to get away with, but there is a lot of party activity at mission sites, so that is that. Unfortunately, the ambassador is not vulnerable.
There's the purloin taken. What's the reaction?
I don't think it's seen yet.
No, I don't think it has been.
Any second now. Where's the twitch? Oh, there we go.
Nope.
Some low lights. Okay, now we've seen it, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
There they come. Okay, so we do have this narrowed down. Oh, wow. So we know what conversation it came from. So this is the all or nothing again. In one sense, this is bad, right? It's very narrowed down. On the other sense, you know who to frame. And if they do just a couple of suspicious things, really hard for Astatine to hold that shot, especially when you're playing against someone on Team Do Stuff.
That's very true.
That's the benefit of doing stuff, at least, is usually get a shot.
Fake contact is good.
But here's the problem. You're trying to frame that person. They're next to you. You're both talking. If it's down to 2, that didn't help much.
That's true.
And I think that's the thing. I think that frame is sort of, I'm not a suspect, they are. That's the only reason you would do that contact there. Unless maybe
or
you
if
thought
you're
you were
just gunning for a green test.
Yeah, or you're gunning for a green test. But I think it suggests that Opie at least is not confident that he's one of that is down to 2. You know, he's probably hoping this is just a straight frame. But he's still going to leave himself options. And wow, Astatine was confident.
Yeah, he really was. That camera fling right before the shot was like impeccable timing.
Jeez, yeah.
That said, that does put AstatineEffect on 10 against OpiWrites 7. Let's see what Opie can do from the sniper side against AstatineEffect's spy. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Those numbers are getting too far apart, and this is not where you want to be, where OpiWrites is, where it's like, okay, yeah, you're sniping to keep it close, but you can't afford to drop another. I mean, if you lose this game, you have almost no margin left.
Starting things out at the statues is an interesting change of pace. Oh, that's just a swap. That's a green swap to open the game. That is wild.
This is what you can do when you have spy games to burn. When you can just snipe your way to victory, you can afford to just put the pressure on the other sniper and just hope and if they miss it, it's over. This is what Opie does when he's ahead too.
Here's the pickup. Here's the swap.
Is it seen? Did we see the pop?
I don't think we saw the pop. I think we have to wait to get a glance at this later, but OpiWrites is on the other side of the venue doing other things. I don't think he's seen this at all yet.
That would be extremely bad. But we do have statue highlights, which means that even if he's not confident, he's got it down to, I think, 3 women there.
True. AstatineEffect heads out to the green bookcase to pick up a book and a flirt. In that order, and it is a green test against a green-shirted lady at a green bookcase for 85%.
This is very concerning. And this is a very small thing, but it was swapped from a 2 into a 3. You know, just the height, when the heights are a little more similar, it's just a slightly more likely that if you're like looking at your peripheral that maybe you don't know. It's a small thing, but I just don't see any indication the swap was noticed yet, which is concerning.
Yeah. AstatineEffect is looking like this could be smooth sailing here. The inspect is done, the swap is done, we've got 85% on the flirt, and we're in conversation with the double agent. That's all of the missions. That's all of them that we need. 3 minutes to play is a lot of time, too.
If this swap isn't seen, I'm not going to say hand the trophy to Astatine, but we're getting really close.
Well, a few lowlights, and one of them was the swap target. I don't think that's in play at all anymore, though. I think that swap is just gone.
There's one saving grace here. There are only 2 highlights and 6 lowlights.
Oh, it's just a flirt, though. And it can be a flirt from any distance.
Yeah, this is rough. We're walking around the Ambassador very confidently. What a risk there, but that's trust in the sniper right there. We're watching the bug. This game is all but over.
Here's the flirt.
Can you save the tournament with a shot here?
No reaction from OpiWrites. He's paying attention to the conversation, but not really to AstatineEffect. And that is another break for Astatine. It's 11-7, the current scoreline. It's not over yet, but it's a mountain to climb.
It's certainly the beginning of the end, potentially. And I have to imagine, because I've been on the other side of it too, that when that screen popped out, that was a bit of a punch in the face. It was, wait a second, I didn't think anyone was close, which really suggests to me that I think that swap was just totally clean. Because it was such an unusual move, I think basically no one has done that. When we saw microfilm earlier, that worked too, because it's just something you don't see very often. You got to pick the moment you zag, and it was chosen very well by Astatine on a venue. You wouldn't expect it. You spawn near the statues, you take that risk. It's the kind of risk you can take when you have a lead already. And instead, it just all but puts the tournament away.
And here's the thing. If you drop into that statue early on and you're seen there, the sniper's going to be looking for a white swap, not a green one.
That's a good point. That's a good, yeah, that's true, because that's normally what you see. So there's it's almost like a double bluff. Why would I do this? And then why would I do it that way as well?
Yeah, that was a very out of left field play coming out from AstatineEffect, and it absolutely paid off in a big way. And now OpiWrites is kind of against the ropes here. They really need to start putting the pedal to the metal and finding some of these spy wins as quickly as they can. They have a bit of an out at the end of the set when they go to Tayen, which is a little bit of a bloodbath sometimes, but they need to find something before that happens as well, and Terrace is not an easy place to do it.
No, this is not where you want to be trying to catch up right now. These venues like Pub, I mean, obviously it worked out a little differently there, but the sort of venue like you need a little help from the party or you need a little help from the sniper most of the time. If the sniper is really on the ball, it's very hard to get it by them. That's not where you want to be playing catch-up. You want to be playing catch-up on the occlusion venues or balcony or something like that, some swingy venues. But I say that, I thought Pub was one of those venues too. So,
yeah.
But any comeback, I think, would probably have to start with a win here.
Yep, we're not yet at a point in Terrace where spies have gotten good at creative plays, but we'll see if OpiWrites can figure something out. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So here's the question. If you're Opie and you feel like you have to win this game, are you capable of winning it passively? Or is that not in your constitution? When you feel like, are you going to feel like you have to make something happen? Like you have to go out and win this game rather than hope the party helps you, even if that gives you a higher percentage? Because a higher percentage is not necessarily good enough. You almost need to win this.
Well, here's the thing. There's a big opportunity at the start of this one because the AI dropped us right at bar. So not only are we going to be able to get a very early delegate out of that, but the seduction target came up beside us as well for 51% on the flirt. So if we send the double agent on a delegate here, there's a decent chance that doesn't really get noticed.
Well, you got to do it soon. And I think the problem is they really don't want to delegate to cast, but they might not have a choice. The one benefit to delegating to cast is sometimes because they're cast, they don't look closely at it and they don't catch it
exactly.
Right away. That's the one upside. But I think we've run out of time. I think we've decided not to do this. I think the green flirt I think its bar rush is distracting, and there's some highlights early already, and we got the green flirt, so we're going to wait and bide our time. There's the time.
Yeah, maybe so. Either way, it's too late now. There's the contact, under 2 minutes to play.
Good one. 2 lowlights, not bad.
Not bad at all. Now, keep in mind, the double agent is known on this venue, so usually you want to take another contact at some point. This is a perfect time to do it. Take the fake contact now.
The double agent moving for you is what does it, so you don't have to be one of the people who switched to make it happen. but we did, and now it's I'm a little confused by that. I think the double agent switching for you is ideal.
I actually kind of like having switching with them. So it doesn't. That actually kind of makes it look like you're not the person who did it, because again, why
if
would
they
a spy
notice
do that?
everything, yeah, if they notice
True.
everything, it's very good. The question is, if they only notice the one thing, then you're worse. It's a real how much do you think the sniper is tracking things question.
So contact done. There's a direct purloin. That's mission win countdown. The shot comes off though. Astatine's on top of it. It's 12-7, and it's match point.
We still had a whole minute to find something, be it a bug or a couple of fingerprints or something, or just a sieve shot. But as expected, Opie feels like they have to make this happen. They make it happen in the most direct way possible, which is a direct purloin. And now we get to actually say must win.
Yeah, very true. I wasn't paying enough attention to know if there was a reasonable delegate frame there. If there was, I don't mind that at all, because it's early enough in the game that they might not they might want to wait and stare at the people a bit before pulling the trigger. But if there wasn't a good frame for it, then yeah, that's just unfortunate.
Might be a perfectly good maneuver, but it does not work.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that means if it doesn't work, it must have been the wrong choice, right? That's
AstatineEffect on the spy side with 5 match points. OpiWrites on the Sniper of Terrace in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
OpiWrite has famously come back from deficits like this before, but it's not the way you want to do it.
There's a very quick flirt and go from AstatineEffect, trying to get out fast.
And Opie staring at that ambassador.
Doesn't try anything with the ambassador right away.
I should point out, when Opie had those many match points lined up against him, Urand in the Winter Cup famously, one of our next venues, Courtyard, was one of the places he swept to get back in it. So if he wins this, well, it's a start.
If anyone can do it, it's OpiWrites. He has had, I think, all of the longest comebacks in the game so far.
He has the single best comeback, the single biggest comeback in terms of stakes and volume and all that. He also has 4 or 5 where he fell behind early, came back, and it wasn't quite enough. There are a lot that didn't actually end up changing the outcome. But generally speaking, yes. If you want to kind of count those to his credit as a comeback artist, he would be the one.
He certainly made a name for himself as this being something he's very much able to do. This has been a bit of a slow game from AstatineEffect. After that first flirt, we've just sort of hung around for a while, and now find ourselves in the right side statues to go for a one-cycle single inspect situation, which is not something
strange.
you usually see spies do.
No, it doesn't make a big difference. It's probably not likely to matter. But if I'm Astatine, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to lean into the coin flip. Soft tail finish, make them shoot. You can afford to be wrong. If they shoot you, fine. You weren't counting on it anyway. You're going to snipe on Courtyard for the tournament.
That's true. Courtyard is a venue that used to be very sniper favored, and spies have really found ways to turn on its head lately.
Yeah, I think it's as soon as they realized that they could not actually ignore swap and that they sometimes had to do it to catch people on rotations, that's when I think it got a little better.
So 84% on the flirt now. We still have that one inspect. Under a minute to play now. The time is starting to become a problem for AstatineEffect.
I wonder what the plan is here.
Yeah, it seemed like the plan was get it done on soft tells, but not anymore. We're off to the bar now, and this is a pretty busy bar.
It's going to be hard to see this list. I mean, I guess it's a direct. What else could it be? But it's still not going to get you to mission win countdown. You just need to get someone else shot. Who are we trying to frame here?
25 seconds. We're properly into the beep beeps now.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what the idea is here.
Takes a delegate, but it doesn't matter. OpiWrites has seen enough. The shot comes off. And they're able to hold on for now, 8-12, the current scoreline, but still a long way to go.
It's possible I'm missing something, and it's probably not going to matter, but I think that's a bit of a throwaway. You can You can do an aggressive bug, an all or nothing bug, where if you get away with it, you win the tournament, and if you don't, who cares? You can do the soft tail finish, same thing, force them into an annoying, difficult shot. If they take it, fine. But in that case, I feel like we didn't force them into any kind of difficult choice or force them to catch really anything.
Yeah, that's very true. OpiWrites, this is going to be one of the big tests about whether or not he's going to be able to make this happen, and it comes pretty early on. The spy side of Courtyard is a stressful place to be, and OpiWrites absolutely needs a win. Let's see if AstatineEffect can put it away right here and now in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
At any moment, this could be Astatine's tournament. We are now at the point where, in mere seconds, we might have a champion.
And we will be in that situation until the tournament is over.
That's true.
That's one of the stressful things about SpyParty. It literally can end at any second.
Or a game could take 25 minutes.
It's
that today
happened
too.
before.
Yeah.
Slow start from OpiWrites here. Normally you want to see people get a flirt or two early on while they're waiting for the rest of their game to line up, but OpiWrites is just hanging out lonely in conversation, not really getting any progress. Now they head around to the other side to chase down the seduction target, and they chase them down at the statues. So
The thing that concerns me here is that, again, I don't think Opie is willing to rely on the party at all. I think he's going to try to force the action, and that works fine. But to win 4 or 5 in a row that way, at a certain point, it's not going to be the right call. At a certain point, the party is going to be better suited for slow play. And so at that point, you're relying on the sniper to get flustered in order for it to work 4 times in a row, right? Or to work over and over and over again. You need some help with that, either from the sniper or from the party. You're not going to be able to force every game as spy and have it work. So at some point, it's just not going to line up, and you got to wonder, are you going to be able to take your foot off the gas?
fake contact in with a suspected double agent is very unfortunate. Minute and 30 to play. Bad leave of the conversation. Does a little bit of an extra loop there, but probably not the kind of thing that AstatineEffect is looking for. We do get nice and snuggly with the seduction target. We're not able to hit a green test, so it's 68% and in with the real double agent now.
We do have a lot of highlights, though. I think this might be the game where you don't finish. This might be it, because you just don't have enough progress.
This is a good contact, though, if we want to take it.
I think you have to.
There it
You're
is.
going to knock out one of those statue visitors, and you're going to knock out Red Dress too. And there it is.
AstatineEffect finds it. Doesn't have to keep us in suspense any longer. Just finds the shot, and AstatineEffect is the champion of the 2026 SpyParty Summer Cup.
And the 2025 SpyParty Winter Cup. We are running out of seasons with which to praise this man. Is there going to be a Spring Cup next? Spring, Fall Cup. How many can they win? It's a hell of a run, certainly, and a great run for Opie too. You know, disappointment last time in the semifinals, but makes all the way to the finals here. When it has to be said, is not generally playing as much anyway. So this is a real good run over some real good opponents. And boy, I have to say it. You hate to think about it. You hate to think that this could be it, but you have to look at the before and after that connection latency issue. That felt like 2 different matches.
It really did. And let's be clear. OpiWrites was playing very good in both of those matches, but
better in one, right?
Before the break, AstatineEffect was just not quite putting it together. After the break, man, we saw some of the best spy games out of him that we have seen in some time.
Yeah, and not just that, the game itself was going to be an Opie win probably. So
true.
Oh boy.
And he was able to turn around even that game itself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say that's why. We'll never know. But you have to look at the before and after, and I think he was playing better before than he was after. He played well in both, but he played particularly well before, and again, that took a likely win and potentially flipped it. And at that point, though, you just got to say Astatine played extremely well and just mixed up the play very well, right? I keep
Yeah,
talking
for
about
sure.
zigging and zagging, and the zigging and zagging is less of a big deal, except when you get into these finals, because in the finals you have a lot of book on everyone else, and the matches are so long, right? You can't do one or two things. You have to start doing three or four things. It's something that frankly I ran up against when I would get into finals. Is I was a little less effective because you needed a kind of longer game plan, and there's a stamina issue too, and that stamina issue is there even when you don't have a 30-minute delay in the middle.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Spy Party is a high stress game, and when you're in that the whole time, it wears on you.
And I have to imagine this can't be literally true, but it's the first time we have confirmation of it. At least I think a final played on a phone tethered hotspot.
Yeah, that's wild.
You give Opie a little credit. You got to imagine you're playing with a little bit of a handicap there based on the circumstances, but in the end, Astatine just kind of pulls away, and what felt very close for about 70% of the match, ends up being a little less dramatic in the very end.
Yeah, AstatineEffect just managing to pull away down the stretch and make what was a very tight game throughout most of it quite convincing in the final scoreline. Huge congratulations to both of these players. This was an incredible match and an incredible tournament to watch. They've both done an amazing job.
They have, and just personally, I like that we're still using the Classics Summer Cup assets. I remember when these were designed for the 2019 Cup, and I thought, boy, I hope we don't change these every year, and we haven't. They look wonderful still. And Kletos obviously has done a wonderful job hosting. Thank you, Kletos, as well.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Yes, I was not expecting this many spy wins. I was expecting something closer to 1.
Something closer to 1. Your over-under was 0.5. Yes. Well, we got a lot more than that, and we did get honestly, so many thrilling individual games. You can have a lot of close matches, but the games themselves are not that interesting. It's a lot of boring spy wins, and sure, it's tight, but this had it all, man. This had individually interesting spy games, and it's not just about the competition; it's also about the entertainment, and both competitors were extremely entertaining.
Yes, that is true, and y'all were entertaining too. Thank you for the keeping that going during the little bit of downtime we had.
Now, Tobo, he says that like it was hard for us to talk about.
Yeah. It's such a
it's hard not to. I'm constantly straining not to talk for 30 straight minutes about SpyParty history. Yes. I was thrilled that I got the opportunity, and I was happy to do it.
Yes. Anyway, that was a fantastic match. I don't know what's next. I think we got, was the Hex Cup going? The SpyParty Competitive League is just about to start up. So we got a lot of exciting stuff.
As I tend to say at the end of these casts, there's always interesting stuff going on. So if you want to start dipping your feet into competitive SpyParty, discord.gg/SpyParty is the place to go to start getting in on some of the action.
Yeah.
We haven't really sold it very well, though. We keep talking about how stressful it is. I think we might have turned people off. I can say you could start smaller than this. You don't have to start at this level. But yes, if you get this high, it'll be pretty hard. But I encourage you to try anyway. It was one of the more difficult and rewarding things I ever did.
Fun and stressful are not mutually exclusive.
True. There's some tension, but they're not opposites.
Yep. And of course, if anybody is going to PAX West, I will see y'all there. Once again, it'll be, I will be explaining this game to many, many people, and I will have many cough drops to help me.
It's a classic. You need them.
Yes, I will indeed. And hopefully see somebody. Hopefully I'll see some of y'all there. I don't know. And I think that's all I got. I think that's all we have. Thank you again for watching. We'll see y'all again on the next one. Bye-bye.